What up, is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. Before you click away, please subscribe. We're doing Dynasty Football videos daily, and we're going to be going over the top 5 wide receivers in Dynasty Fantasy Football. These are cornerstone pieces. These are pieces that if you have, you're looking good for the next 3, 4, 5, maybe even longer amount of time. So important to know who these wide receivers are. We are going to be starting at 1, going down to 5. So if you're new again, please subscribe, and also comment your favorite number between 1 and 1,000, and you can win yourself a Shaq rookie card. Let's go into it. Number 1 is going to be Davante Adams. And so some of these players were hard to kind of gauge. And I'm going to go off the age of the beginning, so September 1st of 2021. So Davante Adams will be 28.7 years old at that point. But Davante Adams, as everyone can see this last year, he was the number 1 fantasy wide receiver in 14 games. In 14 games, he had 10 touchdowns in 4 of his last 5 years. He's a touchdown machine. I don't see Aaron Rodgers leaving. And I don't see him leaving in the next 3 years. I don't understand why they drafted Jordan Love. There's a lot of things I don't understand about sometimes NFL GMs. I don't understand why Bill O'Brien traded Nuke away over to Arizona. Well, he's gone because of it. So Davante Adams, 28.7 years old, I could see him having another 4 awesome years. And with a Dynasty Fantasy wide receiver, if you can have an awesome 4 years, I think that's incredible in fantasy. And I mean, you could easily see that. He hasn't lost a step at all. He is a little injury prone. Plan to miss him a game or 2 a year. But if he scores 10 plus touchdowns, he's very, very consistent. And he dominated last year. And we'll see how much Aaron Rodgers wants to get back into that MVP conversation in 2021. I think he continues to have a chip on his shoulder and wants something to prove. Number 2, this is a guy that's going to be stuck in Kansas City for a while, and it's going to be Tyreek Hill. 27 and a half years old next year, and he's been a top 4 wide receiver for 3 of the last 4 years. Of course, he had issues that 1 year, but I mean, you're talking a top 4 wide receiver that you're going to get probably for the next couple of years here, at least, with Pat Mahomes being there for an eternity. Another stat that I always thought was interesting is 9.5 targets a game average for the last 4 years. You're getting a guy that is going to get a lot of looks. And when you're getting a lot of looks from Pat Mahomes, you're producing a lot of points. We don't know how long Kelsey's going to be there, I shouldn't say be there. We don't know how long he's going to be elite. I think Kelsey might slow down a little bit. And I think everyone said that for the last couple of years. Like we've said, Brady's going to be falling off a cliff here in 5 years, but elite do what others don't. So 47 touchdowns in 57 started games. So he's almost a touchdown per game. Maybe a touchdown every 85%, almost 85% of games. That's incredible. Again, he is in runs and passes and everything. Your Pat Mahomes wide receiver. 1 and 2 are pretty easy. Depends on which order you want them to. They're a little bit older than my number 3 guy, but just know that those 2 are going to be solid. Get them now if anybody thinks that they're going to fall off the cliff on age. Number 3, though, is Justin Jefferson, my Minnesota Viking wide receiver. And there's a lot of reasons for it, but he had 1,400 yards, which is a rookie record, and he had 7 touchdowns, which is incredible for a rookie. And I don't see any of those things changing. Kirk Cousins still under contract for a couple of years. Adam Thielen getting over the edge a little bit on age. They're going to use, I think Rudolph's gone, so Irv Smith will be utilized a little bit. But I can see the same type of 14. I mean, if he has 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns every year, I don't think anybody would A, be shocked, or B, complain about that production. So this is the last 14 games. The first 2 games, he wasn't really utilized a lot. 7 of his last 14 games, 100 plus yards. 7 of his last 14 games, 10 plus targets. So in half of Justin Jefferson's games, he's getting 10 plus targets and 100 yards. I mean, you got to love that. And I think more touchdowns will come once Adam Thielen is not targeted as much. But 22.3 years old, so he is super young. We could see this for another 7, 8 years versus maybe the other 3 or 4 for Hill and Adams. Justin Jefferson, my number 3 wide receiver, go Justin Jefferson. My number 4 is a man who's just a little bit older, but he is 23.2 years old at the start of next season, as A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, 19 touchdowns in 2 years, and he is the alpha in Tennessee. And I, again, don't see these situations, 1 through 4, I don't see them changing. Even number 5, I don't see them changing. And I like consistency, and I like things that don't change. You know what you're going to get. Some of these other things, you don't know what you're going to have. You may have a new coach or a new quarterback or a new system, and it's just, it messes things up. But A.J. Brown, 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons on 11 and 12 started games. So he started 23 games in the last 2 years, but he's had 1,000 yards in back-to-back years. And I think he's only going to get better. Again, I could definitely see him. He's a yards after catch machine. I could see him into the 12, 13, 1,400 yard range in the next couple of years. Again, another huge long, maybe 5-6 years that he might be able to do that. Number 5, this is hard. I had a lot of different options. I had Metcalf, Hopkins, Godwin, CeeDee Lamb. These are all great options. But the guy I'm going to go just above these, and I will go through a 6 through 10 at some point, but I'm going to go with Stefon Diggs. He's 27.7 years old at the beginning of next year, and he just led the league in receptions and yards. Buffalo's not going anywhere. They're not giving him up anywhere near time soon. Josh Allen, again, is going to be there for a while. And when you have somebody who had 6+ receptions in every game but one, you are getting a solid baseline, a huge floor on a player that is really hard to find floor. Like some wide receivers just get taken out of games. Diggs doesn't. He had over 10 targets a game. Over 10 targets a game. When you look at those stats with the first year of Josh Allen, which is, I think, harder to do when you don't have that consistency and you have a COVID locked out, like COVID issue year in the offseason, I think only their chemistry is going to get better and better. So Stefon Diggs, my number 5 wide receiver, just edging out Metcalf, Hopkins, Godwin, Lamb in no order of those 4. But those are some other wide receivers, those that could have some argument being into the top 5. So those are my top 5 wide receivers for 2021 currently. If something drastic and changes, it may change, but I doubt it. For now, these are the top 5. So if you're new to the channel and you made it this far, please subscribe. We're doing daily fantasy videos. Sometimes rookies, sometimes just overall Dynasty. But this is Marcus from Dynasty Football Dads. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.